All right, so we're gonna look at a little bit of footage from what's been going on. All right, so this footage is pretty crazy. It seems like Iran has their own like state TV news channel, sort of like I guess the BBC is the British Broadcasting Corporation. That's the United Kingdom's state media in the United States. We kind of have a couple of versions of that. We've got the PBS, we've got NPR. Iran, I guess, has their own sort of version of that, and my understanding is a bit more militarized than the examples I've just given, but that doesn't really matter. Iran has their own state TV media thing. So they struck Israel, did an airstrike on the Iranian, like whatever building they are actually doing this live TV broadcast from. They hit it. And you'll see the video. The footage is pretty crazy. So this is live TV footage from Iran.
آنچه که ملاحظه کردید صدایی که شنیدید فضای غبارآلود استودیو
I feel like they couldn't do this again if they tried. This is one of those like crazy timing, like if they did this, there's no way that they knowingly did this on purpose, right? I mean, maybe they knew that the live broadcast was going on in this specific building and they hit this specific building for that reason. But I feel like it's just pretty crazy that there was a live broadcast going on. Then you get this like very cinematic, like just plume of smoke, and you can still see her empty desk chair sitting there, and the screen just goes black. And I don't know, it's just very like there's something very, very cinematic about the way that looked. Let's go over a little bit more footage. So here is, this is from the first day of strikes. So this is from Saturday. So Friday, Israel hit Iran. This is from Saturday when Iran hit Israel. So I tried to find footage from outside. So you see a lot of footage from inside of Israel. There's all sorts of different camera angles from both Haifa and Tel Aviv of multiple strikes coming in and successfully getting through the David's Arrow. Because I guess small side bit, Israel has two different missile defense systems. They have the Iron Dome, which is everybody's familiar with, but the Iron Dome is exclusively for short range little pot rockets. Stuff unguided stuff you'd make with like just pipes and whatever equipment that you can find. The kind of rockets that get shot from Gaza and from Hezbollah and whatnot. That's what the Iron Dome is for, but it doesn't protect against full-on big boy ballistic missiles that go like hypersonic and come in from thousands of kilometers away. Those use a completely different missile defense system called David's Arrow. And it's much less effective. It's much harder to hit a ballistic missile and knock it out of the air than it is one of these little pot rockets. And so that's why you're seeing a number of strikes get through. It's not because like the Israel's missile defense capabilities have been diminished. I mean, maybe some SAM turrets or missile defense, specifically turrets, have been hit. But the point is that like the David's Arrow missile defense system is not nearly as good as the Iron Dome, and that's not because it's not as well developed. It's just it's way freaking harder to knock a ballistic missile out of the air than it is a little pot rocket. But anyways, I was trying to find footage from Iran and from like you can see plenty of footage from the strikes within Israel, but you can't see all that much footage from strikes from within Iran. I think there's a number of different reasons for that. I think the culture is just different. There isn't as much of a culture of filming things, and maybe not as much of a prevalence of camera phones and outside reporting. Like news agencies are not allowed to go there. I'm pretty sure like the BBS. I read articles that talked about how the BBC and a number of these other international news agencies are having trouble getting their people into Iran, that Iran just is not letting people in to do reporting on what's been happening. And so it's harder to see what's been happening. So I did manage to find a few videos. I found this video from this is somebody in a plane that just happens to be over Saudi Arabia at the time that the missiles from Iran to Israel were shot, and it looks this video looks crazy, right? It's like an album. I feel like this could be an album cover or something. It looks absolutely insane. And it's cool how you can see the rockets get to their second stage. You see that little tiny extra explosion that happened in midair for that rocket, and then it kept going. I'm pretty sure that's the rocket reaching its second stage of flight. You can see it on all these. You can see the thicker white column of smoke, and then you can see the slightly thinner one after that. That's when the rocket reaches its second stage. These are high-tech guided, or at least semi-guided ballistic missiles. Look at that, though. That is a crazy sight. It reminds me so much of the album cover from what's it called? Nocturnicate. It looks like Mars Volta Nocturnicate album. Yeah, it looks like this. For some reason, this is reminding me so much. This is reminding me so much of this album cover. This album's really good. Band's really good. Mars Volta. Can't imagine having just an apartment here and then just, you know, a couple blocks down, a freaking ballistic missile just falls out of the sky like that.
بدماء قاسم سليماني بدماء قاسم سليماني بدماء أطفال غزة وأهل غزة. الله أكبر. هي الصوت كمان واحد فقع. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. أيوه الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الموت لأمريكا، الموت لإسرائيل، النصر للشعب والمسلمين. صوت الانفجارات. يا لبعث الحيدر، يا لبعث الحيدري. والمسلمين. يا الله، يا الله. الله أكبر. يا حسين. الله أكبر. محضر منظر يا الله. الله أكبر. نزل ضربوها وصلوا. الله أكبر. وصلت. نزل هي ضربوه الرابع أيام العيد. اللهم انصر إيران. لبيك يا الإسلام. لبيك خامنئي. لبيك يا غزة.
Okay, so this isn't the type of thing I would typically show. I'm only showing this because I think there is some point to be made here. I will caveat, this is anecdotal or a one-off or whatever. This tiny segment I'm about to do doesn't really mean anything, but like, it is true. And people, I've met people that try and deny that this is the case, and it's quite frankly just so like, it shows that they have a misunderstanding of the situation when somebody says something like this. That like people in Gaza and Palestine and in Lebanon are like happy about this. They are rejoicing for this. And it's almost the same. I feel like it falls into the same lane as like what I talked about yesterday or a couple days ago, the mom in Iran and Tehran who lost all three of her kids in an Israeli airstrike, and she was happy. She probably wasn't really happy, but like the video was of her talking about being happy that they're being martyred, that they're going to paradise, that they've done a good thing, that they're going against the big bad evil Israel or whatever, and that they've done their duty in Islam and blah blah blah. People don't want to believe that those kind of people exist, but not only that those kind of people exist, but like that kind of mindset, that level of fanaticism and craziness is prevalent, especially in places like Iran. It may be even the norm. I don't know. Couldn't confidently say it's over 50%, but at least a humongous chunk of the people that live there are to that level of insanity. This goes against the victimhood narrative, I guess is what I'm going to say. Is this cuts against the victimhood narrative that many in Lebanon and many in Gaza have somewhat successfully managed to paint and present, that big bad Israel is the one coming and oppressing them and doing all these bad things, and that we're just the little Gazans, we're just the well-meaning Lebanese and Gazan people, and we just want big bad Israel to go away. Well, that is true to some degree, but that isn't the whole picture, okay? And there's definitely a lot of cynical fanaticism, anti-humanism, and stuff like this, where like it is totally reasonable for the people inside Gaza. These people live in the West Bank, okay? These people don't live in Gaza. It's not like they've been personally displaced by bombing or anything like that, right? The West Bank is much closer to what Israel proper is than what Gaza is to Israel proper, right? Most of the West Bank settlements are like first world developed regular ass little towns. They're not like I used to not think that this was a thing, right? I used to think, I wouldn't be like this in this scenario, even though I was displaced and I've been a victim of this oppression and this bombing or whatever, that I would still be able to cling on to my humanity and not call for the death of Israelis or rejoice when bombs are dropped on Israel just in general. And I would hope that this would apply to most people, but I would think, and I'll give them a small pass, I just can't help but think that Islam itself plays some role in facilitating this kind of like anti-humanism, this sort of see the victory of Islam and Muslims, okay? That little second bit he said, I don't speak Arabic, and this could be a messed up translation or whatever, okay? Their anger towards America and Israel, first off, they're in the West Bank, okay, so it's a completely different dynamic than if they were in Gaza. So they're not experiencing anywhere near the same level of oppression or whatever. I don't think their justification in that regard is nearly as strong. But like to the extent that they can have political opinions and not like America, and not like Israel, and even called for their death or whatever, that's fine. But then the second part of this, I think, is really important. The victory of Islam and Muslims. I think to these people, to a lot of Arabs living in the Middle East, and I think this is just a relic of the lack of reformation I've talked about that Islam seems to have not gone through in comparison to Christianity and Judaism. That like the way they intertwine their culture, their everyday life and religion is just like on a whole nother level and uncomparable to what we see in the Western world. And I think it's antithetical. It doesn't comport, right? If your religion encourages martyrdom and jihadism, and these things have not been reformed out of the religion, and then you're going to try and stick it into a modern world, and like, it just doesn't work. Like, I just cannot help but think that the religious fanaticism present clearly in this video plays a humongous part in creating the emotion that this person and these people in this video are feeling. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the best way to articulate all this. It's just like, this is just gross, and nobody should be rejoicing at missiles successfully getting through a missile defense system anywhere, right? Just in the exact same way, I would think it's pretty gross for people in Gaza or the West Bank to be rejoicing if ballistic missiles make it through the Israeli missile defense system. I would think it's pretty fucking gross for an Israeli to be rejoicing that people in Tehran were getting bombed and that we have air supremacy over Tehran. And it's an unfortunate, horrible thing, but you shouldn't be rejoicing and happy. And the way that they're screaming Allahu Akbar, okay, I know that is an Arabic saying and that you could maybe create some sort of non-religious translation to English, but like that is an inherently very religious term, Allahu Akbar. And so I just cannot help but separate the religious fanaticism of the Arab world and like the way that they are handling this political situation, both on a personal level, as you can see in these people in this video, and a macro level, like the insane choice of Iran to just start shooting ballistic missiles out of Israel. All right, let's see some more. So it looks like this is footage. One of the few pieces of footage I've managed to find from within Iran, and I guess it's somebody who lives in Paran Shar, Western Iran, and this is footage of a ballistic missile base or storage facility that got hit. And you can hear all the ordnance, one after the other, all getting light up. This is crazy. So this is in Haifa. Haifa is a city on a hill, so it's like a giant, there's like the flat part by the sea, and then there's this massive hill, and then there's the rest of the city kind of up on top of the plateau. It looks like this guy is filming from like somewhere halfway up the hill. There's all sorts of apartment buildings and office buildings and stuff on the slope up to the plateau. It looks like he's filming from somewhere on the slope halfway up. The view from Haifa is one of the best views I've ever seen in my life. It's absolutely incredible. That's not the point.
מאיפה בתי זיקוק? וואו, יש פה נפילות. תראה. הנה, נפילות. וואו, בבתי זיקוק. וואו. בבתי זיקוק, אחי. כן.
You can hear the crazy delay in the time from when the bombs actually land to where the cameraman can hear and feel the impact. This is another crazy film. This is similar to the one we saw filmed from the plane flying over Saudi Arabia. This a bit less so. This still kind of reminds me of that Noctourniquet album cover, but a bit less so because it doesn't have the color gradient. Yeah, pretty crazy looking. Apparently, Iran has claimed it has successfully struck the Israeli military headquarters. They sometimes call it Mossad or whatever. I don't know. I can't confirm. I don't know enough if this is actually the building we're looking at. But apparently, this is footage of at least one of the direct missile hits on the Mossad military Israeli HQ. My first thought is there's absolutely no way any serious, like, they are well aware that they are a target for missile attacks and that anything above ground is liable or subject to be destroyed. So I would imagine any critical pieces of information or equipment or technology or personnel or anything is well underground of whatever facility this is. And so they can claim that they hit some building that was called the Israeli military HQ, Mossad or whatever. But like, I have no faith or belief that they've actually properly done any significant serious damage to the Israeli military's capability to leadership's ability to function. So here's footage. This footage looks like it's from pretty far away, maybe up on a hill looking down on a city. You can see at least 4 different sites. One of them's flashing, so it looks like that probably has ordnance or some sort of ammunition depot that they hit. But you can see at least 4 different sites that have been hit in this footage. I would imagine many more if there's that much smoke over the city. A couple more.
וואו, הנה זה מגיע, הנה המופע. וואו, הנה המופע. וואלה, חברו את התאורות של 11. תעשה את הטלפון שלך על השטות.
Man, these guys got balls of steel if they're because they're pretty close. I would still say they're very much still in Tel Aviv. So like, to just be chilling on this rooftop, just like, yeah, okay, the missiles are coming in. Let's just hope they don't hit us. Crazy.